Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Stump. I will say that it's been a little bit of a challenge trying to get the third episode out. The easy part, it turns out, in all this podcasting stuff is getting everything set up. Working to try to get some more guests signed up. The second episode was a little lengthy, with the carbon presentation by Dr. Lane O'Neill, but hopefully you all had a chance to go see that. And as I mentioned before, I think having that, watching that on video is probably the best route, though you can kind of infer from the conversation or the presentation what the slides said. But so I thought for the third episode here, I would just kind of come on and kind of talk a little bit more about my background, who I am, why I'm here doing this, maybe some of the subject areas coming up, and just go from there. And I continue to do the radio show once a month. That was kind of the inspiration that led me to get off my butt and actually start doing this. And just did another episode of that last Friday. If you're interested in going back, just to kind of listen to two guys chatting about forest policy issues on the radio in a live setting. At least when it was recorded, it was live. You can go to graysharbor.com, or excuse me, go graysharbor.com and check it out there. And then look for the show Local Matters under their podcast tab, and you will find the show, and just look up January 26th, I believe that's what it was, Friday. I was on during the 8 o'clock hour, so you can skip forward about an hour into that recording and check it out. So, a little bit more about me. In the first episode, I kind of talked about how I got interested in, the public information officer role, the instructing, helping mentor new foresters coming into the field. But, I was born and raised, if you go to my personal website, you'll see I was born and raised in what I refer to as Washington State's largest unreplanted clear cut, the city of Seattle. Ended up at the University of Washington, and from there, the rest is sort of history. Landed after a couple different false starts into different majors. I landed at the College of Forest Resources, which no longer exists, unfortunately. Ended up as a forest engineering major, and as things worked out, found my way working for a large private industrial landowner, and spent about 6 years there, spent about 10 years as a contractor. The interesting thing is, well, yes, I'm a forest engineer. I'd say a lot of my work really focused around dealing with water quality issues, so road maintenance, road abandonment, fish passage structures, the whole 9 yards. But that doesn't mean I didn't get into harvest systems and the harvest unit layout and all that kind of fun stuff as well, and laying out new roads. Also got to dabble in kind of the forestry side of things, writing probably close to somewhere between 75 and 100 forest management plans, and doing a whole gob of other little interesting construction management projects. Even got to spend a little bit of time in the seat of heavy equipment. I was fortunate to have some folks that I worked with who were really good at, well, I guess the best way to say it is, one of the contractors, his comment to me was, if you're going to be out here and supervising, overseeing what I do, you need to know how to run the equipment. So he told me to get up in the dozer and get to work. So it's been a fun and interesting ride. And then after going through a program here in the state of Washington, referred to as the Ag Forestry Program, or Washington Agricultural and Forestry Education, I kind of got the urge and the interest to dive into the policy world, and that's how I really ended up at AFRC, my current employer, my day job. Though while I may discuss policy on this show is the my opinions or the opinions of the guests that I may have. May not reflect the views or opinions of myself, depending on the guests, or anything else I'm associated with, unless it's directly my view and opinion coming out. So at some point, I guess I'll have to record that disclaimer and put it probably at the end of the show. So, but so that's a little bit about me. Some of the things I really enjoy and I have enjoyed over time is mentoring new foresters coming into the field. When I worked for a state agency, that was one of the things I did enjoy working there was being tied to a group that did training of a lot of new foresters. So, getting out, helping them learn, the easier ways to do things like lay out roads and stake roads, teaching them how to stake full bench sections, those type of things. The type of things that a lot of your more traditional foresters, not engineers, may not necessarily get a lot of experience at in school. So that's been fun, and that's kind of working its way now into a scenario where I'm getting involved in workforce development issues. In fact, I'm going to be on a panel coming up here in a couple months talking about one of the issues I've kind of identified where there's lots of people out doing great things in the workforce development world related to forestry and the forest product sector and milling, logging, that kind of stuff. But what I'm finding is a lot of those people aren't connecting with each other, and so how do we start to bridge those gaps as an industry? So we'll kind of see how that plays out going forward with this podcast. My goal is to start releasing episodes on Monday mornings. I am working on building a list of folks to interview. So I'll be getting a whole variety of folks, hopefully. I've got several people have already committed. Most of them I just need to get a time and a date from them. We all have busy, challenging schedules these days. So looking forward to getting that done. As I said, we'll be working to get episodes out. I'm going to try to cut them down from the long hour and 15 minutes of episode 2 and maybe try to get them down to a little bit more digestible 25 to 30 minutes. And I guess if there's longer ones, maybe even looking at breaking those into 2-part or 3-part segments. So with that, if you're interested in being interviewed, just please feel free to go to thestump.io and you can find the contact page there and just send me a little note, and we'll discuss it and see where things go. My hope is to have a variety of folks from the forest products sector, both in the political policy side of things, the operations side, and just try to expose more of the good people in the forest products sector, getting them out there in the interwebs, as one person I talk with frequently likes to call it. And then topics. I also plan on doing some just kind of more commentary topics, some updates. Probably might look at, we're in the middle of a legislative session here in Washington, and as with seems to happen most times these days, several different legislative issues that we're dealing with as an industry. So highlighting some of those, highlighting some of the various issues affecting the industry around carbon, workforce, this constant battle. I was just reading a article published this morning in a local Western Washington paper about how essentially claiming, we really shouldn't be cutting trees, which is something that always baffles me, is the people who live in wood houses, use lots of wood products, yet continue to desire not to have trees cut in around the state, particularly in their backyard, when they can yet see the actual outcomes of what happens when you don't manage, particularly in fire-prone forests. And they were probably many of the same ones who were trying to hoard toilet paper back during the big shutdown. So we'll tackle a few of those issues coming up. If you got other issues you'd be interested in me covering, giving my viewpoints on, would love to have you share those. And you can just also hit the stump.io and go to that contact page and just type in some of the comments that you're interested in. And then also, hang on here. A little bit of a scratchy throat this morning, and no, I don't plan on editing those out. I want to make this as real and as it can be. So plan on covering some of those. Got a whole list of various topics: carbon, reforestation, various things going on in the news media around forestry. Probably even dive in maybe a little bit around the whole climate change initiative, COP28. It is interesting to hear the amount of folks who I'm guessing would normally be very supportive of things that the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and others do, until it comes to forestry, and then they're just a bunch of scientific hacks, is kind of their opinion of that. So you'll see that perhaps I've been a little bit jaded and I'm a little cynical when it comes to some of these forest policy issues. A meeting that I attend once a month, I get to listen to about 45 minutes of how horrible the forest products industry is, while oftentimes people are holding up their cardboard protest signs. So that's probably another place that I'll go at some point, as a discussion around critical thinking, and the ability to connect the dots of your entire, existence in this ecosystem and in this world. So don't want to rattle on too much longer, but still working out a little bit of the technology issues on this stuff. But future episodes should be ramping up. Would appreciate it. Whatever platform you're listening on, give us a review. Hopefully it's 5 stars. If it isn't, then that tells me where I need to work on improving things. So with that, I'm just gonna sign off here. And like I said, next couple issues coming up, we're gonna do some policy stuff, probably a review of legislative issues here in Washington, and I'm considering also running a end of the week, very short little segment. I'll save it as a surprise for when I drop it. But if you also go to the stump.io and sign up for the sign up there, promise I won't be selling your email addresses, no spamming, just be a good way to alert you to new things that we're doing, or when new episodes come out, those type of things. So with that, thank you, and we look forward to chatting at future episodes.